Hey, good day, everyone. This is Edna Keep here, and today I have with me Pili Yarusi with Yarusi Holdings out of New Jersey. I had the pleasure of being on Pili's podcast here a couple weeks ago, and just in a little bit of conversation ahead of time, I knew I had to hear her story because they've done some pretty exciting things. And she was just telling me that their biggest multifamily unit that they've purchased in one shot was 94 units in Kentucky. So there's definitely something that we can learn from this wonderful lady. So welcome, Pili. Thank you for coming on with me.
So honored to be here, Edna. Thank you so much for having me on. And that 94 unit was actually our first one.
Your first one. Oh my gosh,
First big one.
that's so exciting. That's so exciting. So your background is as a realtor. How did you transition into owning multifamily yourself?
So my husband and I decided to have our first child, and we were bartending and managing restaurants at the time. So I needed to do something different. I couldn't be pregnant and manage a restaurant. So I decided to go into real estate because he and his family had always wanted to start flipping homes. And we have a long background in heavy construction. We actually lift homes. We're 40 years into the house lifting business.
Okay.
So we decided to get into that. So I got my license. We started flipping homes. We also started wholesaling homes. And I'm going over like about a 5-year process of getting into real estate and then flipping and wholesaling homes. And so,
Quick question for you, Pili. Can you wholesale homes when you're a realtor? I thought there was a conflict there.
there is a conflict depending on your state. All states are different. It goes state by state.
Okay.
In New Jersey, you can, but you have to absolutely disclose everything. So as a real estate agent, the whole wholesale company was under my husband's name, but also in New Jersey, whatever the husband owns, the wife technically owns as well.
Okay.
But I did want to do that separation, and we have everything in LLCs. So there was that separation, but I always disclose. And that's for any real estate agent out there, anywhere you are, disclose everything, no matter what. I always found the truth helped me better than not. If I told the buyer and the seller the absolute truth of what was going on, it all worked out.
Yeah.
I've since figured out that we still have, and I'll get into this story, but we still have people calling us from our marketing. And I just tell them, I will list it for them. I will find them buyers, but I no longer actually wholesale.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So flipping, wholesaling, how does that take you to multifamily?
So we were flipping and wholesaling properties. I went to my local meetup, one of my local meetups back when we were first starting, and I met somebody that did turnkey properties.
Okay.
So he said turnkey properties would be a good way for us to get into into rentals. But I told him, and my husband and I discussed this, that we only wanted to do multifamily. And at this point, it was small multifamily, and this was out of state. So he picked up 2 duplexes in Indiana, and they were in like D class properties, but they had an ROI of like 22%. And we were rocking it, but we basically had 4 units. And anytime we had a vacancy, that was 25% of our total units just vacant, and we weren't making any money on it. Plus, because of the class of property we had a lot of difficulties and a lot of fees. But in the end, this gave us the permission to think outside our box. So all of a sudden we were out of state and we had multifamilies. So, and I had brought this to the table, by the way, and I'm not usually the one that brings the big ideas to the table. My husband's more the visionary, and I'm more of the implementer. So of course my husband sees this, and his name is Jason, by the way. Jason sees this, and he's like, well, if we can do these 4 multifamilies in Indiana, how about if we did like hundreds of units out of state? And I'm just like, Boom, mind blown. I'm like, and at this point I think I was pregnant with our daughter, and we had our flip business going on, and we were wholesaling, and we just had all these things going on. I was like, okay, why don't you look into it and get back to me? So he looks into multifamily, and we slowly start to learn, and it was a process. And we found mentors that could take us to that next level, because we knew we had to level up. In order to get into large multifamily, we had to level up. So we found the mentors to take us there. And we took down our first, like you said, that 94 unit. After about, how long was it? It was like 9 months into it. But we couldn't have done it without mentorship. That was the key. It was mentorship.
Mm-hmm. So who was your mentor to help you through that, Pili?
We had a couple of people that were helping us. We had Trevor McGregor, who was our business coach.
Okay.
So he wasn't really a mentor. He was more like our business coach. He worked on our mindset and tried to like get us to level up. We actually got him from a Mr. Joe Fairless, who is awesome. I love going to his conferences. Jason actually spoke at one of his conferences 2 years back.
Okay.
And we also love and adore Jake and Gino. We've Jason and one of our partners, Kevin, have spoken at their conference. Jake Stenziano and Gino Barbaro.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they're the authors of Wheelbarrow Profits.
Wheelbarrow. Okay. How interesting. I'm making some notes because some of this stuff I'm going to look up after. So perfect. So you said Trevor was your business coach.
Yes.
So was it Jake and Gino that were your real estate coaches?
Joe Fairless was our key coach.
Okay.
Jake and Gino were also really great coaches, but they weren't syndicating. So they were really, really great to like talk about like our mindset and getting us to the next level, and talk about taking down the large properties and really getting into the management of them.
Okay.
But the syndication point really came from Joe Fairless syndication and money raising.
Okay. So with your 94 unit, how much money did you have to raise to buy it?
That one we raised, I believe, was it 400? It was 400.
And 25% down, roughly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And do you do any vendor financing?
No, we didn't do any vendor financing, not that I know of.
Okay. So how did you find your investors?
Through this first property, we used mostly our circle of influence. Okay. So a lot of family members, a lot of friends. But of course, when you're talking to family members and friends, and this is for all your listeners out there, your family members and friends know you a certain way. They know you as Pili the bartender, or Pili the writer, or Pili the mother. And they don't know you as Pili the syndicator, the Pili the large property owner. So you have to really get them into and start conversing about it. Don't automatically like ask them for money. Don't say, oh, I'm funding this large project, and the minimum buy-in is $25K or $50K. You're probably gonna get an automatic no, even though they're family, because they don't know you like that.
Exactly.
So you start having these conversations with them, warming them up to the idea of you being the sponsor of this huge project, the idea of you taking care of their money and giving them that opportunity. So past our friends and family, now when I raise money, I just have conversations with people. I don't actually raise money. I just have conversations with people, and if the opportunity presents itself to actually talk about how I can help them, then I will go into it. But it's all about feeling people out and really, really gauging how you can help them, not how they can help you. It's how you can help them.
So true. So true. We're on the same page, girl. I love the way you're talking. I love it. I love it. So you still own the 94 unit today?
Yeah, we still own the 94 unit, and we currently have 428 units under management.
Okay. So how do you take ownership? Like when you bring in partners, how much do the partners get? How much do you guys get?
So our split right now is 70-30.
70/30 for you or for the investors?
70 towards the investors, 30 towards us.
Okay. Okay. And do you take a management fee then on
Yes,
top
we
of
do.
that? Okay. So and then do you manage it or do you hire property managers? How do you handle all that?
We have property managers because all these properties are out of state, which for Jason and I, it's it's amazing because we are so hands-on and we're really, really bad at giving away like
Control.
things to do.
Yes.
We're bad at leveraging people because we think we can do it all of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it comes to our large properties out of state, we can't. We can't go and fix toilets. We can't go and like build walls or lay down concrete or any of this stuff our construction company can do on its own. We can't do that because it's all the way in Kentucky. So we have third-party management. But for anybody that says, and this is a key thing, if anybody says that, oh, it's like what we do is not passive. Like we manage our managers and we keep track of them.
Yeah.
Our investors, they're the passive ones.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So true. So are all your properties in Kentucky or do you have some in other areas as well?
We also have a property in Austin, which we are currently general partners on.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So what helps you pick your areas?
It's really a lot of it has to do with, okay, so for instance, Kentucky. We were looking at a couple of places. So we were looking at Louisville. We were looking at a few places. We were looking at Charlotte. We were looking at San Antonio. We were looking at a few places in Ohio. But it all whittled down to Kentucky being the place because we have family there. It's a
Okay.
place that we actually like to visit.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what I tell a lot of the people who ask us for advice when it comes to looking for a market. Yes, you want to look at the numbers and it's all there. Pick up a book, you can find all those numbers.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, find a place that you wouldn't mind visiting. I
Yes.
don't see any point in picking up a property someplace in Ohio if I don't have any intention to really go there and put my own boots on the ground and look at the properties. I want to be invested in not only in the property but in the neighborhood. I want to know that I'm taking care of a place that I have a connection to, if that makes sense.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally get that. Our first large purchase was 144 doors, but in our province and way northern Saskatchewan. So, like you were hands off. But we had a connection there because, you know, I'm from small town Saskatchewan, northern Saskatchewan, even, and I understood that this was the gateway to the north. You know, so a lot of the first people that we talked to, the investors, they thought that was a little crazy. They didn't get it. But most of our investors, actually, now that I think of it, all of our investors are from Saskatchewan that could understand that, and it made sense to them. So yeah, it's got to make sense to you. You got to understand the industry and the opportunity, really. Otherwise, yeah, what's the point of going after it? So what's next on the radar for you guys?
So right now, and I know we were talking about this off camera, like our main focus is focus. We're focused on large multifamily. We're in the process of actually dismantling our other businesses. I still have my real estate license. I'll probably keep it for a little bit because it works in New Jersey. And we are thinking about picking up large multifamily in New Jersey. The opportunity hasn't arise yet,
Yeah,
but when it does, I want to be able
move on
to
it.
use my real estate license to get that property.
Okay.
But our flip and wholesale business, we no longer wholesale properties, and we have one more flip left. Um, it's flipping. It's like the same headache, but just a smaller property. It's one door, but the same amount of headache. I promise. It's crazy, and I feel like I get more out of the larger multifamily because I get to help more people. I get to help my investors. I get to help the people that live there. I get to give people a better way of life. So really, we are full force going into large multifamily. That being said, we also have a coaching program that we just started. It's relatively new. We have about 10 clients, and we're really, really excited because we get to see and give value to people like we were given value, help people take that next level, take that next step in their lives. And I know you know what I'm talking about, Edna, because I know you are an amazing coach, an amazing mentor. And we also have our first workshop coming along in October. So we're also excited about that as well.
And what's the focus of your workshop?
Large multifamily.
Okay. And where's
And
it being held?
in New Jersey, right in Springfield, very, very close to where we live. It's so funny when we decided to do this. We're like, okay, we'll have 50 people come. They'll mostly be in state. Our workshop isn't until October, and we already have about 75 signed up.
Oh,
So we had to get a bigger room.
so exciting.
So we're excited.
Yeah. So you've got 428 doors now. Do you ever look at maybe eventually putting all your holdings into a REIT? Has that something that's crossed your mind?
We've thought about it. It's not really on our radar, but it's a thought. I know we had talked about this when you were on our podcast, and that's something you were thinking about. With the first property, we actually have exit strategies for all of the properties that we want to hold them for 5 to 10 years because of the amount of investors we have in them. Our future thought is to hold properties indefinitely, but that is in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're 11 years in, and it's only recently that we really started looking at it. And again, we found that it comes down to focus on the areas we're the best at. And there's certain areas that we're kind of stuck doing just because we have all these doors and we got to manage them. And we'd like to get to the point where we get to work in our strengths all the time, as opposed to, kind of spending 50% of the time up here and 50% of the time down here, because this is what we love. This is where we get excited. And this is the part just feels like we need to do that to feed it. But we realize that that's not the case. If we have the right people in place, then yeah, we should be able to just concentrate on what we like to do best.
Our mindset is right there. I mean, that's why Jason and I are focused on multifamily, because we were finding that we were good at all of these things, but without the focus, we couldn't become excellent at the one thing we knew we could excel at. We know we can excel at multifamily, but we weren't giving ourselves a choice or the chance to really excel there because we were just pulled in so many different directions that we just needed to decide to focus. Once we decided to put our focus in large multifamily, like all of a sudden the world just opened up, and it's been amazing. We know that's what we're good at. So once we dismantle all those other businesses, we're going to jump we are jumping fully into large multifamily, and in that space, we're going to figure out what we're best at. So I know I am best at talking with people. Okay. I can talk with people all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love talking with people. I love being on podcasts. I love talking with you. I love getting more information from people that know more than me, because I know there's a kabillion people out there that know more than I do, and I want to talk to them all.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's people out there that want to know how I do what I do. I know there's people out there that don't want to do what I do, but need someplace safe to put their money, someplace where they know they're going to make money on their money. And I want to give them the opportunity to do that. Yeah. So that's where my strength lies.
Yes. We're very similar that way. I still remember I used to always think that everybody had all kinds of strengths and I didn't. I didn't realize that the ability to talk to people is such a huge strength.
Yes.
Didn't realize that people had to be taught how to do that. I was just like, oh, that's so easy. I could do that all day. You mean people pay
Exactly.
you for that? So to be able to get to that point in my life, I agree with you. It's what I love to do. I love sharing that knowledge with people. I love to learn, grow, and share, as I can tell you do very much too. Um, so what you're doing is amazing. It's huge value to the world. Even the podcasts that you do, you're having fun, you're getting to know people, you're finding out, what can I learn here, but you're also sharing that. You're not just selfishly keeping that little knowledge to yourself. You share it with everybody that's out there. And I have some different people sometimes say, why are you sharing all your knowledge? Like what's the point? Or the other thing I hear quite frequently, because I'm on Facebook, is, really, if you got 500 doors, why are you still trying to add more? And they don't get it. They don't get it that we get to work in our sweet spot 90% of the time, and how much fun it is, right?
That's the key word. We get to.
Yeah.
We get to do this. See, I'm my back to Trevor McGregor, our business coach at the time. That's one key thing I will always take away from Trevor, is the idea that we get to do this. We get to be in this position. We get to offer people our podcast. And talking about podcasting, like, I've probably learned the most from everything that I've done on podcasts, on talking with you, talking with various people in this industry about what we all do and what we all love to do about real estate, no matter what avenue of real estate. I get to talk to these business people, these entrepreneurs, these people with amazing mindsets, these people that make mistakes all the time.
Yes.
Because I have a fear of making mistakes, but hearing other people and their journeys and their mistakes along the way gives me the permission to make mistakes. And that's why, for all you listeners out there, just let yourself make those mistakes, but learn from other people's mistakes.
Agree. And I've been on a lot of podcasts, a lot. I love them. It's fun. But I've done most of the talking, right? And I started out interviewing my students mainly because I love to hear their success stories and share that with the world. But I'm going to follow in your footsteps. I'm going to be interviewing a lot more people that I want to learn from. I want to hear their stories. Who knows? We could be partners someday, Pili. We could be doing a deal together in Hawaii. Who knows?
Exactly.
It's just exciting to see that we could be partners with somebody halfway around the world doing stuff. I know just recently I partnered up with a fellow. He's a Canadian, but he's looking for properties, 140 units actually in Tennessee. And I would have never, I was to Nashville, Tennessee once in my life. But other than that, I don't know the market. I don't know anything. He's got some connections there. And it's like, that kind of stuff opens the doors for you. So I'm excited to stay connected with you, because I know that even that little group that you set up on Messenger, there's a lot of people in there that I'd like to connect with too. So we'll definitely stay in touch. When you mentioned mistakes, Pili, what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes you made that helped you learn a lot?
Ooh, there's so many.
And isn't that cool that you get to say that there's so many and that doesn't scare you? Because we're the same. We've made a ton of mistakes, but we don't wallow in that.
No.
We move forward, right?
See, I'm gonna just like latch onto that, what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest mistakes is wallowing in my mistakes. Because I have a tendency to get in my head
Yes.
if I make a mistake, or I used to have this tendency. I've slowly transitioned my mindset to get myself out of wallowing in, and like it's the voice in your head that
Yes.
tells you, oh my goodness, you just
That voice.
oh my goodness, you just did that. Oh my goodness, you just did that. The world's going to end. The world's going to end.
Yeah.
Just stay on your computer and make it right. Don't tell anybody about it, because you're the only one that can fix this major problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Took the deep breath. Now ask for help.
Yes.
That's another big mistake that I've made. that I've made a mistake and I've tried to solve it myself. And whereas if I had asked for help, even if it's just, I mean, of course, letting Jason know, but even if it's just like going to one of my mentors, going to my coach and saying, okay, this happened. What do I do to fix it? Or this is going to happen. I know it is. What do I do to fix it? Not, you know, sometimes our entrepreneurial mind thinks that we can do it ourselves, and we're, I don't know if it's some like godlike complex that we all have, that makes you think that you can do it yourself and you're the only one that can do it.
Or that you have to. Hey, I screwed up. I'm the one who has to fix it, right?
Exactly. No, that's not always the case. If you screw up, it's probably better. Your biggest mistake in the first place was probably not going to the right person to leverage that person to get it done correctly in the first place. Exactly. So take a deep breath.
No, what we don't know either, right? That's one of the things I talk to my students about. You don't even know what you don't know. And I still feel like that. I don't even know what I don't know. We're only 11 years in of doing this, and I learn something new absolutely every single day. And that's what I love about this industry is there's so many avenues you can go down. You're never stuck with one thing over and over again. Every deal's different. Every deal's got its own nuances, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Every deal is different. Every deal, and I'm going back to our first deal. Like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So that deal took a little bit longer than the second and the third and the fourth. And the same goes for, and I don't know if any of your listeners flip or wholesale, or if they're thinking about getting into those industries. It's the same thing. Like you're just do your first deal, get your first deal under your belt. That's like, take action, make those mistakes, because you're just not going to know everything. You just are not going to know. But that's the thing, what I tell our coaching students is that you create this team around you. You start having the conversations with various property management companies, not just one. Yes. You talk to like 5 that are in the neighborhood, and you get to know them and you get to know their nuances. And like, if something pops up, you have people that you can call and ask them, we had that conversation a couple months ago. I have this property that just came up. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Or talk to lawyers, get to know, the regulations that you're going to have to know down packed. But have these people that you can turn to, that you can make mistakes with.
Yeah.
Not just by yourself. You're not just a team of one. Leverage people. Get out there.
Totally agree. So thank you so much, Pili, for being on here. You've brought a ton of knowledge. This is awesome. So tell our audience again how they can connect with you.
Oh, there's a bunch of ways. So again, I am Pili Yarusi. You can find me at a couple of websites. You can first just go to www.yarusiholdings.com. Again, that's YARUSI holdings.com. Or you can just simply find me on Facebook. It's Pili, Pili Yarusi, Yarusi. Find me on Facebook. I'm really totally an open book. Just let me know that you heard me on Edna's show, and I'm willing to answer any questions. Completely open.
And what's the name of your podcast for people that want to listen to your podcast?
Oh, yes, the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast with Jason and Pili. We may, and this goes back to our focus, we may be rebranding everything as Multifamily Foundation.
Oh, okay.
So look for that as well. That might be coming up soon. We might be doing that in the fall.
Totally makes sense. Well, you know what? It's been so great to have you on the call. It's brought a ton of knowledge. I encourage you guys to reach out to Pili and Jason. They've done great things. They're doing more and more great things all the time. And again, thank you very much for being on the call.
Thank you for having me, Edna.
Most welcome.